And we'll pick out tonight's two match mascots for you. They are brothers, Derek and Dean Burkett. Derek is 8 years old and goes to Temple Park Junior School, while 6-year-old Dean goes to Temple Park Infant School. They both practice jiu-jitsu and have both received a certificate from Bobby Robson for Coca-Cola football skills. Derek plays for his school football team and also for Corraway Strikers. So tonight's two match mascots, Derek and Dean Burkett. They're being photographed along with Tim Carter, the Sunderland goalkeeper. A thrilling night for them, I'm sure. And there we're looking at Tim Carter, the Sunderland goalkeeper, and the Sunderland side tonight, after that fine 2-0 win against Stoke City, is Tim Carter in goal, John Kay at 2, Paul Hardiman at 3, the captain Gary Bennett at 4, John McPhail at 5, Gary Hours at 6, Paul Bracewell at 7, Gordon Armstrong at 8, Eric Gates at 9, Marco Gabbiadini at 10, and Colin Pascoe at 11. The two Sunderland substitutes are Tony Cullen at number 12, and it's a recall for Richard Auden to the squad at number 14. The Barnsley side includes a Baker, a Tyler, an Archdeacon and a Foreman in their side, and their full side reads Clive Baker in goal, Julian Broddle at 2, Carl Tyler at 3, Jim Dobbin at 4, Sean Dunphy at 5, Malcolm Shotton at 6, Ian Banks at 7, Steve Agnew at 8, Owen Archdeacon at 9, David Curry at 10, and Paul Cross at 11. And the two Barnsley substitutes are Darren Foreman at 12 and Mark Robinson at 14. And there we can see the three match officials for tonight. The referee is David Scott of Burnley, and he refereed here last season when Sunderland played at home to Oxford United in the league game. And tonight's two linesmen are Barry Hawthorne, that's him on the right, on the far right, just shaking hands there with Gary Bennett. He has the red trim flag tonight, and Ian Grandage from Hull in the centre there, he has the yellow trim flag. And should it be required, the fourth official is Mr. Graham. So the linesman on the left is Ian Grandage, and the linesman on the right, as we look, is Barry Hawthorne. The two captains on the extreme left, Gary Bennett, the two match mascots, and the Barnsley captain on the right. I'm not quite sure who he is yet. But pleasantries being exchanged before the match. It's always been a tough game against Barnsley. The Barnsley captain, incidentally, is Steve Agnew, the number 8. Barnsley, who normally play in red shirts and white shorts, having to change tonight because of the colour clash. The two match mascots have just gone off the field. They've played their part in tonight's proceedings, and now let's hope the two teams can give us an entertaining football match. Barnsley are too near the foot of the table for comfort. They lie in 17th spot, and in their away matches so far, they've won 1, drawn 1, and lost 2. Sunderland it will be to kick off. Eric Gates with the ball at his feet. Last year we beat Barnsley here at Roker Park on Boxing Day by a 1-0. The goal scored in the 76th minute by Jim Dobbin through an own goal, and it's Barnsley having to clear immediately. Curry, but that's too far forward. Now Sunderland can break. Pascoe manages to get the ball out, and again Sunderland are 5th in the 2nd division. Gavidini the target. The whistle goes. That may well be a free kick as opposed to a throw. Armstrong going across, so it could be a throw. No, the two-man Barnsley wall, you can just see on the left of your picture, shows that it will be a free kick. Quickly taken. Gates controls well. Can't turn though. And that was the Barnsley captain getting the ball back to Baker. Bennett got the touch. Now Banks. Broddle trying to go down the right. Hardiman managing to get that ball away towards Gabbiadini. Barnsley have started the match quite well. Kay with the clearance. Good nod inside to Gates. Sunderland's first real raid, but Hardiman's ball slightly overhit, just too far ahead of Gabbiadini. McPhail. Bennett now is working that one clear. Ours in particular, but that ball's too far ahead of Pascoe. So Clive Baker, the Barnsley goalkeeper, wearing the grey jersey. Ball played inside to Banks. Cross, intercepted by ours, finding Gates. Gabbiadini can go clear now. Early ball, but steady defensive play there. But a lovely ball from Eric Gates to send Marco Gabbiadini clear. And Paul Bracewell was waiting in the middle as well if that ball had got past the Barnsley defender Jim Dobbin. Paul Bracewell, who scored his first ever goal for Sunderland at Stoke, the 10th Sunderland player to score this season. Gabbiadini. Marco Gabbiadini scored his 10th goal of the season on Saturday. Bennett with the long ball. Pascoe didn't control that one properly. Gates waiting for the back pass, but it's cleared down the wing. Pascoe got the head. Bennett. Gabbiadini didn't come off that inside flick to Eric Gates, so Barnsley can break. That was Dobbin. This is Banks. But the ball goes out of play. So the first touch of the night for Tim Carter. Our associate sponsors, the programme sponsors are Crossley's Builders. The ball sponsors tonight are Hepworth and Grandage, and of course the club sponsors are Vaux Breweries, apart from tonight's main match sponsors, English Estates North. Not such a long kick by Carter, but Bennett controls it. Offside flag goes up. Gabbiadini caught offside. Broddle fouled by Bracewell. That's Banks over the ball, who takes the free kick. Gabbiadini helping out in defence. Bracewell gets the touch as well. Still Barnsley on the attack. Archdeacon with that spell of play across the Banks. Shotton with the clearance for Barnsley. Bennett is fouled. Free kick to Sunderland. McPhail takes it quickly. Groans from the crowd for that Hardiman back pass. Sunderland throw. Steve Smelt handing the ball there to John Kay. Only Armstrong in the centre. He gets there, so does Gabbiadini, but doesn't make the vital contact. Armstrong did well to jump for that and beat the Barnsley defence. But Gabbiadini just failed to make contact. I'm sure the slightest touch would have sent that ball wide of Baker. Yes, a definite Bennett foul there. Shotton leaving the free kick for Paul Cross. Good jump. Carter having to be alert to save that one. Sean Dunphy with that attempt on goal. Again, a good Armstrong flick, finding Gates, but Gates not controlling it. Gabbiadini flicks it towards Gates, off Bracewell. Yes, the foul there again by Hardiman. He jumped without being able to reach that ball and pushed Ian Banks in the back. So there in shot, the man who had that header at goal a moment ago, Sean Dunphy. Great play there by Paul Bracewell. Could have been in trouble there, but his skill got him out of it. So no shocks in the first 10 minutes. Gordon Armstrong in trouble there. Overcomes Steve Smelt. And if anybody can do anything about this, it's Steve Smelt. You can just see on the extreme left the leg of Paul Hardiman. He has a supporting elastic bandage around it. He did get an injury against Stoke City. And you can see there the various vital pieces of equipment that physiotherapists carry around these days. No longer a bucket with a cold sponge in it. Very scientific. And Gordon Armstrong must have taken quite a knock. Looks fairly relaxed about it. One leg crossed over the other there. I was giving you Barnsley's away record earlier. They've played 6-1, 1 drawn, 1 lost, 4, not 2 as I said earlier. They've scored 5 goals and conceded 14. And only Brighton and Oxford United have conceded more away goals, that's 15 each, than Barnsley in Division 2. The all-time record with Sunderland and Barnsley in league matches, that is. Sunderland have played 4 against Barnsley and won 2, drawn 1 and lost 1 here at Roker. Sunderland have scored 7 to Barnsley's 5. Armstrong fit again. That's him about to take the throw. So quite a long delay. Straight to Baker. Good support there from Malcolm Shotton with Gabbiadini ready to pounce. Gates. Bennett coming across. Free kick given to Sunderland. Quite a vigorous wave of the flag, that, from Barry Hawthorne. And David Curry not very happy about that decision. And is Steve Smelt going to be required again? Yes, there he is. Stretcher. I wonder if... No. It looked as though that awful signal. But John McPhail doesn't seem too much the worse for wear. He is rather groggy. Viv Busby coming on to have a look to see what the trouble is. And John McPhail holding his head as he goes off. So Sunderland in the wars in the early part of this match. So Richard Ord comes on. There's Dennis Smith looking anxious as well, talking to the linesman. And Richard Ord coming on as substitute to take part in his first senior match since the game against Ipswich right at the start of the season. So the game underway again. Free kick to Sunderland. Sean Dunphy wrapping his arms over the top of Eric Gates. So a free kick in quite a dangerous spot. This a real chance. 5 Sunderland men now inside the penalty area. 3 over the ball and 2 more just outside. Armstrong! Oh, and a good header there from Gates, but straight to the goalkeeper. Kay overhits that ball. Minutes gone, as yet no score. Lovely layoff there by Gates, just didn't quite work. It was a foul, but totally accidental. The pass from Gates just wasn't quite right. And John Kay slightly unlucky to be cautioned for that. He had to go for it. So that's John Kay's 5th booking in his last 7 matches, and he must be close to suspension. And this time it's Mark Lyle, the Barnsley physio, who has the job of bringing his player around. So Paul Cross fit again. Okay, getting the header. Agnew. Broddle. Game quite physical, but that's a good challenge. Now Gabbiadini. Armstrong offside. The full end crowd don't agree, but then they weren't in a very good position to see that. Hardiman managing to get the ball into touch. Good play by Curry, Banks with the cross. Kay missing the header. Pascoe in to help, doing well. Good defensive play by Colin Pascoe. Gabbiadini under it, and getting there. Armstrong, good control. Ours. Gabbiadini. Tackles back after losing the ball. Now Hardiman. Armstrong didn't come to meet that. Broddle to Banks. Now the drive from Dobbin, but well wide. Ian Banks, to Barnsley number 7, is a well-known midfielder in the lower divisions. He's been at Leicester, Huddersfield, Bradford City and West Bromwich before coming back to Barnsley for a £100,000 fee. That's Agnew, the Barnsley captain, still going, but the whistle's gone. A foul by him. Barnsley playing 5 men across the back. Obviously trying to keep Sunderland at bay. Sunderland have already lost John McPhail through injury, with Richard Ord coming on as a ready-made substitute, centre-back for centre-back. Bennett. Kay towards Gates. Free kick to Sunderland. The foul by Dunphy. Taken quickly. Rather too quickly, in fact. Cross deciding to let that one run into touch. Number 4 there, Jim Dobbin. Scored for Sunderland last year and scored for Barnsley 2 years ago when Barnsley beat us 3-2. Gabbiadini trying to wriggle clear, but the flag's up, but the referee's waved play on. Richard Ord didn't really mean that, but Armstrong's kept it in. Gabbiadini coming in at the far side. Heads the ball against the Barnsley defender Carl Tyler, and the ball eventually out for the goal kick. Midway through the first half, no score yet. Bennett waiting and fouling his man. All but Eric Gates have gone back behind the ball. That's Eric Gates in shot. And that's Banks, who I was mentioning earlier. Charged down there by Bracewell. Gates, the man up front. No offside. Great chance here for Sunderland, but it's back with Baker. In fact, the free kick given to Sunderland. A holding offence, I think, signalled there by referee David Scott from Burnley. Or a handball, perhaps. A 5 or 6 man Barnsley wall. 5 men in that wall. Another one just to the right. Gabbiadini and Ord, the drive though, looking for the corner and given. Deflection from Armstrong's free kick. So the first corner of the night. Cut back for Hardiman. Across to the centre. Gabbiadini getting there, but Baker in the right spot. Good variation of the corner. Not the usual corner into the centre. Great by Armstrong, great header. Or Richard Ord. But Kay there to help out. Richard Ord must be a little bit nervous tonight, having just won his way back into the first team. Not the way he would have wished, I'm sure, having to take the place of the injured John McPhail. Now Bennett. Too far for Pascoe. Linesman signalled, I think, for a free kick there to Barnsley, but the linesman, the referee has decided that the goal kick is in order. The linesman on the far side is Ian Grandage from Hull. Bennett fouled this time by David Curry. David Curry, formerly of Darlington, and also had a short spell with Middlesbrough. No chance of a break now for Barnsley. It's Banks. Tries the early lob. The idea good, but the direction not. Explaining there to his teammates what he was trying to do. Now Ord has some space. Good run. Great run. Still going, but oh, this could be a booking. No. The Barnsley player getting up, judged to be accidental. But what a great run there by Richard Ord. That should have calmed any nerves he had. He stayed up on the far side of the penalty area, Bennett going alongside him. So 4 Sunderland men, ours, Gabbiadini, Ord and Bennett, almost together. It's come out to Pascoe. Good header out to Bennett. 3 Sunderland men in the penalty area, but the cross was short. Bracewell looking for a repeat of his Stoke goal, but not getting it. It was from just about that position that he scored that goal against Stoke. Well played, Richard Ord. Armstrong, Gates. Ord again. Over the top, looking for Hardiman or Gabbiadini, but the Barnsley defender gets there first. That's Malcolm Shotton. Ready-made position for the long throw, should Gordon Armstrong decide to use it. Bennett making a late run. Doesn't reach him though. But it's back with Armstrong. Bracewell in support behind him. Oh, that was a good centre. A clever little chip to the near post. Almost found Gates. Ord. I was mistiming his header. Bracewell taking over, finding Armstrong. Hardiman on the overlap. It's gone inside though. Good one, coming for Gates. Oh yes, Eric Gates. You could see that one coming all the way. It was a lovely centre from Gordon Armstrong, and it was teed up perfectly for Eric Gates. And even the experienced Clive Baker had no chance. So after 30 minutes, Sunderland won, Barnsley 0, and it's that man in picture, Eric Gates, who breaks the deadlock. The Gordon Armstrong centre was desperately headed out by a Barnsley defender, but Eric Gates buried the chance. Eric Gates' 5th goal of the season. Dobbin. Shotton. Broddle got the head to that, but then a Barnsley hand gives Sunderland the free kick. Now Bennett. Kay wants Bennett to pass the ball forward, but Bennett holding off. Now the run from Gabbiadini, and that's when the ball is released. Gabbiadini didn't get there though. And a sloppy piece of defensive play. Sunderland with the corner. So Armstrong, that's Gary Bennett and Richard Orr, both centre-backs inside that penalty area. Bracewell on the edge of the area, that's Bracewell you just saw. Gabbiadini got the header there. It could go anywhere. It bounces off the bar for another corner. So all of a sudden, Barnsley's defence at 6s and 7s. Three Sunderland men on the goal line. Corner comes to Pascoe. Clever flick by Pascoe. Nearly came off, but not quite. Hooked away by Owen Archdeacon, helping in defence. In fact, every Barnsley defender inside or level with the penalty area. It shows how defensively minded they are at the moment. And again, this ball could go anywhere. It's Pascoe just over. Real pressure on Barnsley's defence now. Bennett to Bracewell, or Bracewell losing out for once. So Agnew finding Broddle. Good one-touch play there by Barnsley, but it doesn't come off. Bracewell. Pascoe. Sunderland men streaming into the penalty area. Overcomes the cross, too high. But suddenly, Sunderland have changed into overdrive. Dobbin. Poor control allows Ord to break. Now Gabbiadini. Kay going outside, but Gabbiadini comes inside. Finds Pascoe. Corner. No, goal kick given. So Clive Baker, he's been with Barnsley since August 1984, over 5 seasons. Well judged by Bennett. This time Carter probably with the long kick, waving his men upfield. Gabbiadini under it, but won there by Carl Tyler. Gabbiadini, good turn to find Gates. Kay with the long one. Neat header there from Banks, gets the return ball. Skillful player is Banks. Broddle. Agnew beaten no by Ord. Banks again. Dobbin. Agnew challenged by Bennett. Threads the ball out. Bowers stops that one. Cross. Barnsley will probably have to throw 1 or 2 men forward now that they're a goal behind. Bennett finding Gates. Good turn by Gates. Bennett sprinting forward. He might try one. He's fouled. There's a booking coming here, but Bennett might have tried the first timer. He was running at speed onto the ball. And poor Julian Buddle finding his way into the referee's notebook. John Kay already there. There, the Barnsley defensive wall lining up. That's Steve Agnew in the centre of it. Ian Banks, number 7. The Sunderland men there. Gary Hours, Colin Pascoe. Over the ball. The shot from Armstrong comes out to Kay. Gates not offside. Oh. But the chance goes begging. Ord. Rather careless ball from Broddle. 38 minutes gone. Sunderland 1, Barnsley 0. With that Eric Gates pile driver, the dividing line between the two sides. Referee having a word with the linesman there. Barry Hawthorne explaining what's happened. And referee David Scott cautioning Paul Hardiman, I think, or perhaps it's Banks as well. Hardiman looks disgusted. Long lectures for both of them. I don't know whether Hardiman's actually been cautioned. Certainly Banks is being. Yellow card to Banks. But not, I feel, to Paul Hardiman. That's Barry Hawthorne, the linesman. Red trim flag. Another whistle goes. Shotton with the free kick. Eric Gates, the Sunderland man in shot. Curled in, back-headed towards goal. The whistle's gone though. And again Sean Dunphy going forward. Armstrong's head. Could have another chance. No, Banks gets there first. Now Gates. Bracewell through for Hardiman. Howls for a penalty, but no way that was intentional. This time the whistle does go. Handball against Broddle. Armstrong and Hardiman over the ball. Armstrong's floating centre. Bennett trying to get up there. Gates trying to get in. Armstrong. Banks can only push that ball out. Armstrong. Ord. Kay. Beating two men, then finding Hardiman. Armstrong looking for a 1-2 with Gates and getting it. Oh, good header there from Pascoe, but the goalkeeper in the right place. Ord is fouled by David Curry. One of the few careless Sunderland passes we've seen tonight. Cross with the long ball, Agnew's flick. Hours with the run. Banks involved 3 times there. Cross on the overlap. Ball played forward towards Curry, but Bennett to cover. And the goal kick. Just 2.5 minutes of official time left in this first half, but we've had 3 fairly lengthy stoppages. 2 for Sunderland players, 1 for the Barnsley man. So there should be quite a bit of injury time to play before the whistle finally goes. Dunphy. Hardiman trying to find Gates. Gabbiadini anticipating the back pass. And the ball scrambled away for the corner. Linesman's flag is up on that far side. Gabbiadini knew what was on and almost managed to get there. It looks as though he's limping a little bit too. But it is Sunderland's 4th corner. Barnsley yet to have a corner. Kay, the only man back for Sunderland, driven forward. Oh, Armstrong, I think, got that header in. Bracewell. Hardiman with the early centre. Out comes Baker, but perhaps not enough shouting there in defence. That's the sign of a jittery defence when that happens. Armstrong short. Sunderland throw. Gates, 2-0. Eric Gates again from the Armstrong corner. Lovely positioning by Eric Gates. And what a pity this is his last season. The Gordon Armstrong corner from the left was floated across. The ball beat the Barnsley defenders, and Eric Gates came in and hammered the ball home. And Richard Ord's presence up there helped in that goal as well, helped to hinder the 2 Barnsley defenders. So it's Gary Bennett ready to take the free kick. Some good jumping tonight by the Sunderland players. That's Broddle forced backwards. Bracewell. Ord. Bennett. Bracewell finding Ord. The Barnsley throw. Banks on the ball so much for the visitors tonight. Tyler. And Cross couldn't reach that. Another chance for a Sunderland break before the half-time whistle, perhaps. Dennis Smith out of the box. Gabbiadini. Banks. Bennett looking for Gabbiadini. Tyler there first though. Sunderland's throw. Handball. Free kick to Sunderland. Armstrong coming across to take it. Cross on the left, Archdeacon on the right for Barnsley. Ord. Good header, good positioning by Baker. Already 2.5 minutes of injury time gone as the referee brings the first half to a close, and a very satisfactory one it has been for Sunderland. It took them a little while to get into the stride and break down what was looking like being an efficient Barnsley defence. But once Eric Gates broke the deadlock after 30 minutes with an opportunist drive following a weak header out of defence, Sunderland were on top for the rest of the half and could have had more than the second goal Eric Gates added a minute before half-time. So the half-time score, very satisfactory for Sunderland. Sunderland 2, Barnsley 0. Deacon with the centre. But the shot not very well executed. David Curry, the man who produced that Barnsley shot. Gabbiadini being spoken to by the referee, perhaps for something he said to the defender. Free kick given. Perhaps a little bit of retaliation on the part of the young Sunderland striker. But he's back in defence now as this free kick is taken. And it's Gabbiadini who gets his head to it. Now Cullen. I think some of the Sunderland men wanted the early ball, but that was rather careless by Cullen. Now Jim Dobbin coming away for Barnsley, finding Archdeacon. Laid back for Agnew. Okay. Switches play. In goes Pascoe. And it's a penalty. Pascoe brought down by Baker. Pascoe clearly got there first. So who'll take this Sunderland penalty? It's Paul Hardiman. He's the regular penalty taker this season. Clive Baker came off second best in that challenge. He's protesting to the referee, but it's to no avail. Paul Hardiman converted a penalty at Leicester, converted a penalty here against Fulham. This is his third chance. Three out of three. Sunderland 3, Barnsley 0 with that Paul Hardiman penalty. That's just 5 minutes into the second half. So it's a good night so far for Sunderland. 2 to Gates, 1 to Hardiman. Great ball from Armstrong, finding Pascoe. Early ball for Gates. Gates inside the penalty area, but didn't control it properly, and Barnsley get that one away. Played forward by Ord, but Gabbiadini caught offside. Bennett. Dobbin. Ord should get there first. Long clearance from Ord. The miscue there from Sean Dunphy. The Sunderland get the throw. Dunphy might well have let that one go into touch for the Barnsley throw, but he didn't, and it's Sunderland with the advantage. Gabbiadini with the flick. Slightly risky play by Barnsley there. Now Kay with the interception, but handles it. Kay saying it was the chest. Referee saying it was the arm. Dobbin through to Agnew. Dobbin again. Cross. Dobbin. Probing for an opening, but not finding it, so he plays the ball wide. Curry guides the ball in, but he scores as well. Yes, the goal given. So Barnsley do find a way through the Sunderland defence. Curry getting the vital touch there for Barnsley. So the former Darlington player pulls the goal back for the visitors. So Sunderland losing their way just a little. And I must say that Curry was left in a lot of space. The ball in the centre for Gates. Couldn't find Gabbiadini. Kay stops it though. Bennett, wearing the captain's armband on his right sleeve. Hooked away by Agnew. Curry backing into Ord, but Ord considered the aggressor there. Banks, intercepted by Gabbiadini. Barnsley get away with that one. Dobbin, who did so much to contribute towards the Barnsley goal. Ord loses out to Agnew, but gets a second chance. Archdeacon, good shot, off the post, a brilliant save. Archdeacon desperately unlucky, but Carter did well to touch that ball onto the woodwork, and then Kay was there to cover. So this game far from over. Bennett the wrong side of his man for a while, but again Kay there, but Bennett had obstructed his man. So it's the free kick to Barnsley, and all of a sudden we have a match on our hands. Now every Sunderland player within that penalty area. That defensive wall packed with Sunderland players, so the chip, and it's the ball which saves Sunderland again, but no, it's there. It's 3-2. And the man to bring Barnsley right back into this game is Carl Tyler. Off the bar, and then Tyler was first to react. So 2 goals in 3 minutes for Barnsley. Now can Sunderland react? Gates! This time, not the power or the direction. No, that won't count. Foot up against Gabbiadini. Didn't contact the goalkeeper, but that's considered as dangerous play. Linesman's flag is going on the far side, but the referee hasn't seen it. That's why the crowd are howling. Gabbiadini drawing the referee's attention to the fact. But it's an offside decision against Barnsley. That's why the flag's going. And I'd have thought that Barnsley want to keep the game going now rather than Paul Cross taking the ball away like that. In the meantime, we have an injury to one of the Barnsley players. It's the captain, Steve Agnew. So both physiotherapists quite busy tonight. The right ankle, by the looks of it. And I was saying that we'd met 4 times previously in league games. The first time was in November 1958. Just after Sunderland had gone to Division 2. That was Sunderland 2, Barnsley 2. Johnny Goodchild and Stan Anderson scored for Sunderland that day. On the second occasion we met, it was on the 19th of April 1986, when we beat Barnsley 2-0. Paul Futcher own goal and Howard Gale scored for Sunderland that day. A year later, in May 1987, it was Sunderland 2, Barnsley 3. Keith Burchin and Frank Gray got Sunderland's goals that day, with Jim Dobbin, Roger Wilde, the former Sunderland player, and Gwyn Thomas scoring for Barnsley. And on the last occasion we met, that was Boxing Day 1988, when Jim Dobbin's own goal gave Sunderland a 1-0 victory. And an interesting statistic about Barnsley, when they played away at Oxford this season, only 3,863 fans saw the match, and I believe that's the lowest ever second division crowd for a match. So, the Barnsley skipper being led off. We've also met Barnsley in the Full Members' Cup, as it was known then, and that was in September 1986. 6,904 fans saw that match. Sunderland and Barnsley drew 1 each with 2 goals in 2 minutes. Alan Kennedy gave Sunderland the lead in 64 minutes, and Stuart Gray equalised for Barnsley just 2 minutes later. It was 1-1 after extra time, but then Sunderland went on to win by 8-7 on penalties. So Mark Robinson comes on for Steve Agnew for Barnsley. And Gary Bennett about to take the free kick given for the Barnsley offside. So again, we're going to have a long second half. Floated into the area. It's come to Gates. Gates couldn't get there properly. Now Barnsley much more alive. There's a real spring in their step now. But over-eagerness caused that move to break down. Dennis Smith anxiously out of the dugout. You can just see him in the top of the picture. Linesman telling him to get back into the dugout. And the referee going across now to speak to him. And in no uncertain terms telling the Sunderland manager, get back into the dugout. Gabbiadini flicks on. Long ball forward for Barnsley. Richard Ord comes across and brings the ball confidently away, leaves it now for Cullen. Gabbiadini conceding the throw. "16 minutes into the second half. 3-2. Curry leaves it for Dobbin. Hardiman across for the challenge. Barnsley. The ball finally out for the corner. That was good play there from Ian Banks. He goes across perhaps to take the corner. Yes, he is. So anxious times for the home side. Dobbin arms upraised on the edge of the penalty area, but the ball played further in than that, away by Bennett, but it's come out to Dobbin through a crowd of players, and that could have gone anywhere, that slice. As it is, it's gone for another corner. Barnsley's first 2 corners of the match. Dobbin again. This time it's wide. Carter knew that, half dived towards it, but then saw the ball curling away past his left-hand post and let it go. Sensibly, he could well have conceded another corner if he'd tried to get that ball. Gabbiadini beaten this time, but the offside flag up against Paul Cross. And Gabbiadini left in some pain on the ground after that challenge, but he's prepared to go where it hurts. Steve Smilt not needed. The game will go straight on. That will have to be taken again. Referee speaking to Tyler of Barnsley and to Bennett. So Hardiman can try again with the free kick. Bennett wants it played forward, but he's standing offside at the moment. Now he isn't. Good turn by Pascoe. Gets the 1-2, but Bennett scores! It's 4-2! Delight on Gary Bennett's face as he makes it 4-2. Timed the run perfectly. And relief for Sunderland as well, because Barnsley had fought their way back into this game. And that could be a vital goal. "20 minutes into the second half. Now Barnsley almost back to square one. It's their throw. Corner given. That was a vital goal for Sunderland, because Barnsley were looking good at 3-2. But that's put new life into Sunderland. Pascoe crossing out, cutting out the first cross, but he won't manage to do that with the second ball. Oh, it's Bennett taking the ball off the goalkeeper's head and heading just over the bar. That one looked to be going straight to Tim Carter. Partially cleared. Good block by Gabbiadini from Dobbin's shot. Bodies all over the place as it comes back to Dobbin. Now Sunderland can perhaps come out. Good play there by Hardiman. Curry. Now Gabbiadini, the ball out for the Sunderland throw. 14,234 fans here tonight. Ball played forward, Gabbiadini going for it, but Tyler there first. And that attendance is about 7,500 less than were here for the corresponding fixture last season. Dobbin floats that ball wide, a great pass. But also good defending on the part of Paul Hardiman. Now Pascoe brings the ball away, finding Gates. Armstrong fouled. The hero of the moment in picture, Gary Bennett. Ord is fouled. The Barnsley player making the back. So Bennett takes the chance to go forward. But Richard Ord and Gary Owers and Paul Hardiman all stay back. Free kick slightly short, but it's come back to Owers. Gates, I think, knew he was going to be offside if he'd gone for that, so the ball threw harmlessly to Baker. Just over halfway through the second half as Ord clears. Sunderland 4, Barnsley 2. Gabbiadini penalised for the foul on Julian Broddle. The ball played quickly in, but that's easy for Carter. Dunphy plays it through early. Ord back to cover. Carter waiting. Oh, Carter had to get the touch there. I think Ord's back pass slightly short. Carter having to concede the corner. But surprisingly for Barnsley, now there's more men coming up. Carter fists away. Gates helps it out, but Barnsley still have the initiative. Two Sunderland men head that one together. Ball driven in from cross, but Carter safely holds it. Curry miles offside if this clearance is returned quickly. Sunderland throw. Gates didn't control it and lost possession, but it's a poor clearance intercepted by Hardiman. Owers. Cullen. Owers wants it back to him, but Cullen plays it inside instead, short of Gabbiadini. No Barnsley players anywhere near Hardiman or Bennett. Armstrong. Dunphy. The whistle went for the foul. Slightly late whistle. If it had gone just a fraction earlier, then perhaps that second incident might have been prevented, but again, on the other hand, perhaps David Scott was looking for an advantage. It certainly didn't come, so Sunderland have the free kick. Armstrong and Pascoe over the ball. Armstrong's chip, easily held. Banks, good chest down. Curry, now Armstrong, and some more reaction from the players. The match is a bit tense out there, and I think Barnsley want to make a substitution anyway, but the referee will deal with David Curry first. He's booking him, the 5th player to go into the referee's notebook. And now the substitution. So Sean Dunphy, the central defender, goes off, and Darren Foreman comes on. So all 4 substitutes now used. Barnsley wanting to inject a little bit more weight up front. Gabbiadini looking for Bennett. Bennett getting there. Armstrong into the centre. It's come to Gabbiadini. Couldn't try a shot, good defending. But it's come to Bennett again, didn't quite run for him either. Cullen. Foreman. Indirect free kick, I think, awarded by the referee just outside the penalty area. So it'll be a free kick to Barnsley. Far post, awkward one, and it's gone out for the corner. Mark Robinson, one of the Barnsley substitutes, about to take this corner. Bennett away. Danger not over though. Oh, the ball hits the referee. Good Sunderland defending there by Cullen. Now Gates and Gabbiadini can break between them. Gates with the shot, easily saved though. And John Kay gone off injured. Minutes left for play, plus the injury time, as Gates doesn't control that ball properly. Armstrong going in slightly too strongly for the referee's liking. Pascoe it was who went in there. Bennett off him for the corner. So this corner number 6 to Barnsley. Sunderland have had 4. In stormed Darren Foreman there, but didn't get the header right, and it went behind for the goal kick. Now Armstrong. Gates. Great ball. Pascoe going through, but has he overhit it? No, he hasn't, but it took a good save, but the move's broken down. It shouldn't really have. There was players on both sides. But Pascoe, a great chance. Oh, it's passed forward in the wrong direction. Offside. Against Mark Robinson. Gates didn't quite find Cullen. Whistle going. Barnsley free kick. It's been very competitive tonight. And now that Barnsley have brought themselves back into the game, it's even more competitive. Now the break. Through for Gabbiadini, but not quite hard enough. But Sunderland threatening to break through as Barnsley press forward, looking for more goals themselves. Whistle goes again for the Sunderland free kick. A protest by Foreman. And the ever-growing list of names in the referee's notebook grows even longer. That caution was for dissent on the part of Darren Foreman. Big kick by Carter. Dobbin hooks it clear. Oh, Gary Bennett's late with the challenge. He went through with the challenge. David Curry on the receiving end of that. That free kick will have to be taken again. The referee not ready. Played short for Cross. Foreman. Cross looking for Foreman. Gabbiadini right back there to help and winning the goal kick for Sunderland. Someone says, take your time to Gary Hours. Barnsley breakout. Foreman. Banks. Good block by ours. Gabbiadini gets it back to Armstrong. Forward comes Pascoe. Doesn't get the ball between the defenders. Banks. Robinson. Ord concedes the corner. So Barnsley have made their intentions clear in this second half. Robinson with the corner. Bennett got the head there. Pascoe chasing, but not preventing the corner. This time cross going short, but the ball driven across. Tyler got there. He's already scored 1 goal tonight, but couldn't direct his header on that occasion. Armstrong with the up and under, looking for Gates. And the free kick goes Sunderland's way. Pascoe fouled. Takes it himself. But again slightly too hasty, and the move breaks down. Curry now. Cross. Nice touch to find Archdeacon. Robinson. Hooked away by Cullen. Belted away there by Hardiman. Gabbiadini left lying on the ground. Referee just inquiring as to how he is, but he gets up quickly. Banks again. Robinson. Early ball. Foreman got there. Ord with the half clearance. Foreman again. The drive, there was a deflection. That was from Archdeacon. I was telling you that Barnsley had won 1, drawn 1 and lost 4, but their performances have been a 3-1 defeat at Ipswich, a 2-1 defeat at Plymouth, a 0-0 draw at Swindon, a 5-0 defeat at Blackburn, a 3-2 win at Oxford, and a 0-2 defeat at Oldham. Dobbins pass, finding Robinson. The drive well over the bar, not troubling Carter in the least. Just 5 minutes left of this match, and a much improved performance from Barnsley in this second half, although Gary Bennett scored the goal which might just mean the difference between a win and a draw or a defeat. Now Gates, good ball. Now Gabbiadini, oh, plays it far too far ahead of himself. Lovely ball through from Eric Gates. Barnsley still pressing. Dobbin. Cross. Foreman. Robinson on the far side. Good cross. well cut out by Carter. Cullen away. Now Gates. That ball meant for Cullen. Hardiman, back to Carter. And not surprisingly, Sunderland a little bit wary defensively, having been down to 10 men for the last half hour, with John Kay having had to go off injured and both substitutes on. Whistle was starting, but there's a long way to go yet. And I would think a fair amount of injury time after the official time is over. Barnsley relying a lot on the long ball over the top. Odd clearance. It was Pascoe finding Gabbiadini. Now Gates. Pascoe. Offside. Just 2 minutes of normal playing time left. The flick on there was from Shotton. Oh, that could go anywhere, and it went behind the heels of Archdeacon, and he couldn't turn. That's Archdeacon just running out of picture. Handball. Free kick to Sunderland. And if Sunderland can hold Barnsley out for the next 3 or 4 minutes, then they'll have won 3 league matches on the trot. Cullen. Gabbiadini drives well wide, but he made himself the opening, but couldn't cut the ball back far enough to get it on target. Marco Gabbiadini, 10 goals this season. Banks. Hardiman, rather fortunate, but gets it back to Carter. We now move into injury time at the end of this match. Gabbiadini going forward, looking for Gates. Gates appealing for a handball, not given. Looking to put that ball back through for Gabbiadini, but now it's Barnsley on the attack. Curry loses possession. Sunderland win the throw. Buddle thinks it's for Barnsley, but realises it's not. Banks collecting in midfield, as he's done a lot tonight. Dobbin's done a lot of that as well for Barnsley. Bennett getting there first, doing well. Can't pass back, it's cut off. Armstrong can't pass back either, because Foreman was standing in the way. Now Sunderland can break. Ours. Armstrong had to check slightly. And then the offside flag. But it's quickly taken and on with the match. Barnsley know there's not long to go. Hardiman beaten, the cross made. And oh, Bennett, I think, getting a foot to it. Or perhaps Carter's arm got there. Armstrong in trouble. And is eventually fouled. He did well not to lose the ball in that situation. And the whistle's gone. I think, no, it hasn't. The crowd think it has. The linesman's on his way up. Yes, it has. Final whistle has gone. Relief to Sunderland, relief to the crowd. Sunderland, well, the game itself started off very slowly, but when Eric Gates scored that cracking goal from a weak Barnsley defensive header, the Sunderland floodgates opened. Gates quickly added a second, and then shortly after half-time, a penalty for Hardiman made it 3-0, and Sunderland looked to be home and dry. But Barnsley hit back 2 goals in 3 minutes through Curry and Tyler, and it was a relief to Sunderland when Gary Bennett blasted the 4th goal home. Final score, Sunderland 4, Barnsley 2.